Good morning to anybody watching. Good morning, world. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, everybody. So today we are going to be talking about what the hell happens now. Because this is about where we are. Yet again, it's after Christmas. All the joyeties of Christmas, although they were completely different this year. So we couldn't spend them doing the things that we love to do, being with the people together that we love to be with. So it was very different. We still had the magic of Christmas. We still had the lights, and we still had the films on the telly, and we still had the foods and the smells and the free time, and all of these things that make Christmas so special. And now we're after that. We're after the new year. We're after all those joyeties, supposed joyeties, and now this is when reality's kind of like hits, and bang out of New Year and bang into another lockdown, and it feels pretty daunting yet again in so many different ways, because at the beginning of March we didn't really know what the hell was happening. When we had our first lockdown, it was scary, and it was a big shedding of the old and emerging into this new life, which gave us so much. It gave us so much and gave us many gifts, and our new lives, what we could do, rather than our old lives, what we couldn't do anymore. So we had completely new focuses, and everything just changed so quickly. This is the scary thing. But now it's kind of like we've lived this a year, and it's again, and it's worse this time. And like the hospitals are suffering, the poor nurses and the doctors and the NHS and people in general, they're suffering with anxiety and fear, not knowing, like it's like a 70% transmission rate. And I know, like, one of my really best friends has got it, like, at the moment, and is struggling with, the whole family's got it, but he's got it, and he's really healthy. Like, he's younger than me. I mean, I'm 21, obviously, but but it's the protection of the people that you love, and not being able to do that, not being able to control that. And we're in this whole world yet again of unknown. Like, when the hell is this going to end? When? And if the vaccines don't work, like with the South African strain, like, Lee, you're in South Africa, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's coming over, and they don't know if our vaccine is going to work with that. So we're just plunged into this whole world of uncertainty. And today I want to just talk about how we can get the best out of what we are going through, and life in general. What are we feeling? What are we doing? What can we do? What can we focus on? Because I mean, I myself, I've just been feeling tired, and I think I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the length of, if I'm feeling like this, I know other people that might be feeling worse, because it's just, hold on, excuse me, the door. Let me check the door. That's all right. Okay. Delivery. Yeah, another thing we've dealt with in lockdown. Just deliveries. Hold on, Ticky's trying to get the person at the door. My dog. The door's shut. We're good. Okay. Yeah, so it's getting it's a whole new world. We're working from home. We're doing things from home. We're trying to help as many people as we possibly can, doing the things that we can do to help. My tiredness, it's just, I just want, what do I want? Harmony and peace and certainty. But we are, Linda, we're going to go to you, because you were just saying this before we started going live. We are living in uncertainty. And how can we do this? Linda, let's go to you. And we've got Linda and Lee today, by the way, just so that everyone knows. Okay, Linda.
Yes, I think it's absolutely clear. We don't want to do it. I'm not going to say anything that you're going to want to hear. We don't want to do it. We want certainty. We're not going to have certainty. We are going to have to learn to live with uncertainty. And it is possible. The good news is it is possible to learn how to live with uncertainty. I don't like it. I don't want uncertainty. I want certainty. I want control. That's how I've always lived. I need to have control. Now, there are still some things we can control. I'm always banging on about this, our circle of influence. My circle of influence, it might not be, I don't know, I don't tend to look at other people's in books or anything, so I don't know what the definitive circle of influence looks like, or circles of influence. But mine looks like this. In the center, there's only one thing. In the center, and that is your certainty that you can control what's in that center, in the bullseye, and that's you. That is you. That is all that is in that circle. It's no good putting your kids in there or your partner in there, or thinking, well, sometimes I can influence them, sometimes, so it's not a certainty. Yeah. So they go in the next circle outwards, those people that sometimes you can influence. Yeah. The government, okay, Boris, the government, the EU, any of that stuff is right in the furthest circle from the center. We can't control that. I want to be able to. And so I want to fight it, and I want to, and I do things, and I sign petitions. I'm not, I possibly was never the kind of person to go on a protest march. I support those that do. We do need, so I'm not saying we lie down and let all of this steamroller over us. That's not how we learn to live with uncertainty, no. But the first thing is we must accept that we cannot change most of this uncertainty. Those things we can change. Will we get toilet rolls this week? Well, you can work on those. Will there be enough bread in the supermarket? From what I'm reading on social media, it seems there's no panic. We've lost interest in panic buying now. So it's or we've begun to be able to trust that if we don't panic buy, there will be stuff in the supermarkets. The supermarkets have been telling us this all along, haven't they? Mm. So take yourself to your circle of influence. What can you do with yourself in that bullseye to make this tolerable, to accept? No, sorry, let's leave that out of it. What can you do to make it tolerable? Mm. The first thing you can do is accept that there is going to be uncertainty. We don't know when the schools will be able to go back. We don't know. And it's further than that, isn't it? We don't know what it will be, what that decision will be based on. We don't even know that. We have no control over the decisions being made. Now, certainly at the beginning, I have been pretty much a warrior on these things. Think, right, we're just going to go into battle. This last year, there's always some gold at the center of a storm. And when you know when you've grabbed the gold, when you say to yourself, if there was a button I could press that would remove this experience from my life, I wouldn't press it.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're looking for those nuggets of gold that we would not miss for the world. And one of them for me is this: some things you cannot fight, some things that fighting doesn't do it. Fighting doesn't improve anything. Now, remember, I'm not saying lie down and be steamrolled over. Do the things you feel it's important to do. Sign the petitions, write to your MP, get your MP on board. Yes, absolutely, do all of those things. But you've got to do it from a position of acceptance, of accepting that this is not in the center of our circles of influence. So we've got to accept it. We've also got to let go of blame.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for me because that's how I've lived until this year, until this last year. That's how I've lived. Let's blame somebody and then we feel all right then. Yeah, well, it's Boris's fault, or it's Cummings' fault, or it used to be, or it's Williamson's fault. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who it is. It's the government's fault.
Yeah.
And that's going to get us nowhere either. It doesn't matter. It might be their fault. This is what I've learned. This is the golden nugget. Yes, it might be their fault. Maybe they need to be, not need to be, sorry. Maybe we could blame them. Maybe they have made mistakes. Maybe there is a serious agenda behind this. Yeah. Maybe there is. But can we do anything about it?
It's frustration. It's a frustration. Yeah. And the thing is, with everything that we're feeling, the underlying feeling for so many people is just a frustration. And the frustration, if you can zoom into that frustration, you're missing a feeling. And that feeling that we're missing in the frustration, can we recreate that through something that we can actually control? Lee, you're back. Oh, hello. She's got a different background.
Yeah.
So that's the thing for me. It's like, it's a frustration of not being able to go to the shops properly. It's the frustration of not being able to see my family and give them a hug with certainty. Exactly that. Okay. It's a frustration of not being able to go out for dinner with my sister and my friends and just to be, just to be a bit normal and to have that connection physically. It's the frustration of the not knowing. It's the frustration of disconnection. It's the frustration of, like, Ethan's got his secondary school exams coming up. Normally, this is big. This is a big thing. He's going for 3 massive schools that he really wants to go. One in particular, they can't sit their exams
they can't do it. No.
So we're doing it online. It's completely new. It's the frustration of I don't want to get it wrong. I want him to be able to do his exam and for him to thrive and to do really well. But it's not an exam environment. It's in our house.
Yes.
It's
so
like,
can I? I've got.
Sorry, Lee, we'll come to you in a minute. Go on.
Something's come to me that what we need is the how. It's all right me saying, oh, we need to accept uncertainty. So how?
How?
Because if I can't tell you how, I haven't helped you. How is by focusing not on what we have not, but focusing on what we do have.
What we can do. The trust.
You've got trust.
Trust and it works out.
Yes, and so at least, and I know that in many cases, focusing on what we do have, it begins with those words, well, at least. So it's not, oh, wow, look what we've got. It's, well, at least we have online teaching.
We can.
At least we can. And the one thing, the practical thing I've seen happening, and I'm stunned by this, and it frustrates me, is I've seen people in groups talking of restricting themselves even more than the legislation requires. Now, this is very important. What we've been clamoring, those of us that have been signing petitions and stuff, one of the things we've been clamoring for is we have wanted to see where is the risk to benefit assessment of lockdowns, because lockdowns cause damage and cause death. Where have the government done those assessments, that risk to benefit assessment? Why can we not see it? Now, what I've noticed is every time we've locked down, in the tiers or not, every time more has been allowed. And this time we are allowed more. One thing we're allowed to do is go and meet with one person from another household for exercise. What I am sad about is people are trying to do without that and blaming others who are thinking of going and exercising. I'm saying grab all of it, because hopefully this is part of the government doing that risk to benefit.
Yeah.
And it's going to, if we do take all of the freedoms it gives us, then it will be better for the whole of society than if we don't.
I agree. Lee, how's it going over in South Africa? Talk to me about
the second wave, of course, has been very difficult. I think, I don't know, it seems to be more prevalent now, and more the first sort of wave, we didn't have that many deaths. We had that immediate 3-week lockdown that turned out to be 5 weeks. It went on to 12 weeks, but, slightly less restricted. And that basically economically stuffed the whole country up. I mean, we're not a strong enough country to deal with that. So economically, we can't actually afford to, and we can't go into it. And thankfully, the government have agreed that they're not going to put us down into a hard lockdown at the moment. But I think the difficulty that people are having here is that there's a period of time, from what I understand, that you don't know that you've got it. So the masks have always been compulsory, when you're out of your own home, etc., etc. Not that everybody follows it. That's is what it is. But you can't go into any shops or anything without a mask on. But I think people don't realize the enormity of what can happen. Because, it's not just elderly or comorbidity people. I mean, it's anybody can be affected by it. And I'm fascinated and would love to see some results on the difference between men and women, because of the families and the people that I know well that have had it. It seems the men and boys have had it worse than the moms and the daughters. So I don't know. I find that's kind of, I mean, we're also this huge amount of uncertainty. And I think, when Linda started off with the uncertainty, I always think of that Anthony Robbins thing where he's got those, the 5 human needs.
Yes.
Whatever. Or 6. And basically his starting point is the paradox of certainty versus uncertainty. And, all of us need a different amount of certainty and a different amount of uncertainty. But if we had to go to those certainties, and certainties mean by, where do I live? Have I got a house to go home to? Is there, in this country, you want to make sure there's an alarm in your house. Certain things, will the lights turn on? Well, here we don't know. But there's all those sort of things that are your certainty. You're certain about your husband, you're certain about your child or children, or, they're things that but then there's also the uncertainty. And uncertainty can be fun stuff, like you're going to a concert and you don't know what's going to happen, and maybe something exciting, something fun will happen there. Going to a sports match, you've got the certainty that you're going to go and watch rugby or cricket. When you get there, you don't know what the score's going to be, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know. So there's your uncertainty playing in. Even like watching a movie is something that's it's certain you're going to a movie, but uncertain. Anyway, so get the gist of it. What I think the difficulty now is like you said about your control. It's such an immense uncertainty that even if you are one of those people who prefers uncertainty, I mean, I spent 7 years traveling around the world just because I could. Certainty wasn't important. Now I have my child at home, school, he's going to high school as well, and there's all these, are they going to go, aren't they, things. But this uncertainty isn't a kind of it's not like that uncertainty, the excitement of where am I going next? Where am I going to travel? Yes, I need this. And even though my certainty to uncertainty ratio has changed quite a lot over the years, now, whether you like it or not, your certainty has gone down and your uncertainty has shifted higher. And it's learning how to adapt to that. And I agree with you, not even finding it as an at least, but finding it, what are you grateful for? I mean, I started off last year's, I usually have a word for the year. And for the beginning of the year, I put up vitality because I wanted to be healthy and strong and blah, blah, blah. I really wanted to get my physical and physical health better and exercise and so on. Well, obviously with lockdown, I mean, I was running around the garden like a fool, but since lockdown's finished, or the worst of the lockdowns, I'm not running around the streets. So perhaps that was a good time for me. I'm just too lazy. But that word vitality just didn't do it for the year. And at the end of last year, I was saying to my husband one night, we were sitting outside having a glass of wine, and I just said to him, for me, it's been gratitude. Gratitude that my son is at a good enough school that it has been online. Not a day that they missed one day of school. The rest just went smoothly sailing through to online. Yeah, it wasn't the best way to finish your primary school years. You want to be with your mates and stuff. They couldn't do any sport or any of those things, but his education carried on beautifully. They were able to do so many little end of year things, like they all dive into a dam at the last day of grade 7. It's all very exciting, in their school clothes with the teachers and all the rest of it, and swim to another side. And as they come out, it's kind of like a symbol of going to high school, and they all get a towel. So he had all those special things, which were great, or not all of them, but he had many. But I'm so grateful for the ones that he did have. And my whole year just changed. My gratitude towards my family and towards the fact that I've got a family that I really love. And some people haven't had that gratitude. Some people haven't had that opportunity. And I think if you can find your own gratitude, well, for me, finding my own gratitudes made it easier to get through, like when I lost my business, all that kind of thing. I know when there's loss of life, which is, it seems to be huge around the whole world. It's a different story. But for me, finding the good in each little day, and also stopping the whole news and the surround sound, not listening to, I have a look at BBC News and News 24 every day, but other than that, I'd rather not, because it's stuff that just brings that angst and that fear of the unknown in.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly. And the thing is, we are not our own thoughts and feelings. We can control that. We can control our thoughts and feelings. Experience them. You experience these things, but you are not them. So how can we get into the present? It's getting into the present and dealing with things from a place of right now, and finding the things that need to be dealt with in the present time that are important, and not inviting in that anxiety and the fear, because it's just clouding the situation. It's like a big whirlwind. It's a massive whirlwind, and it's just staying calm and centered. And there's that saying that if everything's madness on the outside, go inside, isn't it? It's something like that, isn't it? Something like that.
Yes.
And that's what we have. That's who we are. That's what we can do.
Yes, we can. And I have, I'll send you the link if you want to put it in the comments of this video. I have the now state, which I've entitled Instant Calm. Right. I have a video treatment of that. It's free in my treasure chest. So that, and how I do it is I install it with a trigger. So you install it, and then when you put your 3 fingers together, that instant calm comes back.
Beautiful.
So that is a way that you can actually choose in the moment.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's just knowing that there is that control. Everybody in the whole world, we're all experiencing different levels of anxiety or uncertainty, not necessarily anxiety, uncertainty. We're all experiencing that. And it's knowing that there is something that you can actually do to help yourself, to make you feel better. It just is.
I also think that, what Linda said about her now state, I actually remember in the middle of last year you guided us through a now state. And it was so beautifully done. In fact, it was one of the nicest ways that I've had it done, going to that point, that bringing everything to that spot. I really loved it. So I would definitely sort of encourage people to do that. And I've actually used, your sort of the way, your adaptation to it. I've had this terrible skin condition for the last 6 months. I think it might have been from stress or whatever, but anyway. And I've had to sometimes do that because I just wanted to itch my whole skin off. It's been so, so desperate. And that now state has brought, but also, doing it the way that you did it, that's sort of bringing it all to that center, not just looking and experiencing or whatever, but the actual, I don't know, you just do it. I really can encourage everybody to, do this.
I've never had it not work either. I always, when I'm working one-to-one, we test it. We do a test and we clear the screen, and then we say, right, okay, now bring it back. Put your 3 fingers together and bring it back, and it always comes back. It's a blinking marvel, isn't it? That we've got that we've got that thing.
It is.
We're really lucky, and
yes.
everyone needs to just learn it, because it's something so simple and you can do it anywhere, and no one else needs to know what you're doing. No one knows.
No.
And it can work in exams,
you know. Driving a car, whether you're writing, whether you're in a meeting, wherever you are, you can put those 3 fingers together. And if you're using your right hand, it doesn't matter. It's so quick and so possible.
Yeah, it does.
Do it,
and I found, because I suffered some anxiety at some point, some stress, I would say. I don't think I could call it anxiety, but I'd been taking CBD oil for a long time, and then I wanted to come off it, and I was taking it for pain, not for anxiety, but it keeps your mood in a beautiful flat line, not a flat line as in flat.
Yeah, no.
Keeps it really stable. And so what I found is, if I didn't come off it very slowly, then I would have some feelings of stress or anxiety from time to time. So during that time, when I was coming off it, and apparently doing it a little bit too quickly, but I didn't realize, we went to it was when we could go out, it was before all this. We went to the history festival that used to happen every year, and I went to a talk by the illustrator of Horrible Histories.
Oh, wow!
Yes, and he was marvelous. He was absolutely marvelous. He was a marvelous presenter, fantastic presenter, and it was on the school's day. We went as home ed group, but it was on the school's day. In the future, I will go on the school's day, because there is far more interaction on the school's day than the rest of the week. But anyway, so we went. So I sat down, and I was feeling a little bit, just when you're feeling a little bit tense up, and a little bit something. And I thought, I'm not having this. I'm not going to have this. I want to enjoy this. So I put both, I didn't notice what I did, but I put both my 3 fingers together on both hands. And I noticed after about 10 minutes, I'd kept them together.
Yeah.
So I always encourage my clients to do whatever they want to do with that installation. Yes, it is installed, but if you feel it would just come back and you could relax your hands. But if you want to keep them together, keep them together.
Lovely.
And some of my clients who have been struggling with family circumstances, I've said, are you doing your instant calm? Yes, my 3 fingers are glued together.
Sweet man.
See, the thing is, it's focusing on what we can do right now in these weird times, because obviously, as we say, it is uncertain. We don't even know when it's going to finish. We don't know, and how the world will look outside this. We don't know any of this. But by connecting and maybe helping others, volunteering or doing something that you can do, that will really help lift your own spirits as well as others, and focusing on the things that you're good at. What are you actually good at doing, and doing more of it, and it doesn't need to be, it's personal. So there's a million different things you could be good at. It could be, maybe to do with, education, or to do with therapy, or to do with sport or exercise, because exercise is really important. Just to go out and get in touch with nature. It could be to do with craft, there's arts, there's so many things that you can do, that you could be really good at, and just focusing on that more, to really excel in those areas, to make you feel fantastic, and to make you to become who you are meant to be anyway, your authentic self, allowing yourself to become that.
I think you're right, but you know what really rings true when I hear you talking about that now is not just the not choosing lots of things, finding something that you can focus on.
Yeah, focus.
Because at the moment you've got nothing to focus on. And I think that goes back to that central point of you in the circle that Linda was talking about. If we find that thing that we can actually physically focus on, then all of a sudden we're not thinking about the unknown and the fear. We're actually, and especially when that focus is something that you love, something that you enjoy, something that, you know, and as you say, whether it's walking, whether it's physically doing something, whether it's whatever, if it's something that you enjoy that can shift you onto something, I think that's a positive sign. Yeah. But the other thing I also wanted to mention was, you know, when I was at school, we didn't have all the fancy things that the kids have now. And I'm sure, you know, each age group along that time, they had different stuff. And as the years shifted, each age group that goes ahead, or each generation, have different stuff from the previous. And I think it's quite interesting, because what we're going through is this sort of generation, being whether it's sort of you're in your 80s or your teens, that's what's happening at this particular age group of those particular generations. And each one's going to shift up together at the same time. And the following generation of teens and of 80s is going to be different. Yeah. So that's another thing that I found quite interesting, was I never had fancy dances at the end of school and jumping in dams or there was nothing like that. So they're not having it now, it doesn't matter. So the ones before got it, but the ones before are having something different now, and they'll have something different when they get there. So I suppose it's also, it's not focusing on what's not, but focusing on what is.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's right. That's exactly right. We are in different times, completely different times. And the thing is as well, there are things that we can do to step outside the box. And like, if we don't like something that's going on, what can we do to change that? Because without action, change won't happen anyway. So, you know, if you're focusing on the negative and what all these things that are being done to us without our control, if you could sort of stop that and step outside and think, right, just widen that view and think, what is there out there that I can do to, you know, like as I say, I've said it many times before, I'm massively, I love cryptocurrency. I've been loving it for many years. And it's really weird times, because even though I'm just like in this world that's just feels, well, just my world, and I'm happy in my world, and there's a lot of pain out there, which I'm trying to help. In my world, or like what I can do, what makes me feel a bit better is just to go into the crypto thing, because it's my own independence. I'm my own bank. I'm my own. I've got my own financials, and a lot of people are going into that now. A lot.
Yes. So are we saying, what I'm hearing now is we are saying there are some certainties. They're going to be in that bullseye. There are some certainties, and we can choose them. So for me, I like making things, creating. I'm very creative, so I can choose any time, and there's certainty there that if I choose to do a drawing or a painting, I am certain that I will enjoy it. I'm certain that I'm allowed to do it, and I'm certain, I'm fortunate enough to be certain that it will come out well. It will come out well enough anyway. So that's so that's your cryptocurrency, isn't it? In that world, you've got certainties. So we can look for, where are our certainties?
And it's enjoying it. I enjoy it. You know, I enjoy it. You know, it's like a little game to me. It's something that it sparks my imagination. It just does. And it's the field of possibilities. What might happen in a positive way, you know, and not being in fear, because in my eyes, you know, it's all about security and protection and the people that we love and care about, and our friends and our family, and not wanting any suffering, right? That's what I'm about, 100%. And what can I do? What can I do? No one else is doing it. I've talked about this for years. I've talked about it to my parents and my sister and friends, and, you know, so many, oh, no, you know, like, not interested, but that's okay. But that doesn't affect me. What I can do, what do I feel good at doing? What do I want to do? And that kind of gives me a little focus. And I like watching the YouTube videos of, you know, all the crypto people, and I like it. I love it, and it fires my imagination, and it gives me a sense of security that I can be hopefully in a position to help as many as I can, not only like mentally and physically, emotionally, but also maybe financially in the future if things go the way that they could go, you know. So it's a world of possibilities. It isn't certain, because as you say, nothing really is certain, but it's as certain as I can make it, and it's as certain as I believe. So to me, yeah, it's a certainty, yeah, to me. So it's interesting. It's what you can do in a situation.
And when you get that certainty in a balance that works for you, that's when you get a bit more peace. You know, when it's out of balance, when you've got too much certainty and no uncertainty, or vice versa, for your own self and your own personality, then you're out of balance. So, you know, if you've got a point where with the crypto, you've got your amount of certainty, with the world, you haven't. But if we can all find ways to create an equilibrium that works for us, that we can cope with. You know, some people can cope with a lot more stress than others, or being in more stressful situations. But I think if you find your own zone and you're okay with that, and you don't, because at the moment I think there's a lot of judgment going on. You know, each country looks at each other differently. I mean, what is going on in the world? I mean, think about America yesterday. I mean,
oh my gosh, I know.
And I think it's so important to limit social media.
I agree.
Because it's divisive. It's divisive, isn't it?
Go on.
Now, let me just, this is just an anecdote on what you said. I was in the mall with my son, looking for a uniform or whatever. And he, as we walked past, he said, gee, it was interesting listening to that couple's conversation. I said, oh, what did they say? And he said, no, the girl said she's come completely off all social media. And the boy, they were obviously teenagers, whatever, had said, no way, how can you live without it? And she said, no, it's easy. And he said, even Instagram. And that's as much as Ryan heard. But there you go. It's what you said now, but she's obviously choosing, and I said to Ryan, she's choosing to free up her life from all this fake news, false media.
From being
negativity.
What social media does, if we allow it to, and I'm still on it. I'm still on it.
It is a tool.
I am making different choices, and I've left a local group, a local community group that has just become an offensive group. People in it are just piling, blaming and whatever. So I left. And I've left some other groups as well. And what I think is important is to know is that social media, unless we take control of it, is telling us what to feel like. It's telling us to feel angry and offended, or it's telling us to feel frightened, or whatever.
Yeah. It's decluttering your life and focusing in on what is important. It literally is, because we have that power to declutter our social media or to come off of it completely. We have that power to choose what we want to watch on the telly, you know, and not focusing on the negatives, or, you know, or what we're being fed through the channels. You know, we have the power. Oh, look, Susie's here. Oh my gosh.
Oh, is Susie here?
Susie's here. Hey. Susie, darling. She's just here. You know, we have the power to change our worlds and what we see and what we hear on a daily basis. We have that power. So it's our responsibility to do that. It's our responsibility.
And there doesn't have to be a loss of connection and community. There are lots of groups, lots of nice groups that have as their basis nice connection. There are lots of them, and you can hang out in those groups.
Like, our time is so precious, right? Our time is precious, and if we're choosing to spend it with people that we don't want to, that we don't agree with, or we don't agree with their morals or their worldview, that's our choice. We have no one to blame but ourselves. But we also have the power to switch that off and focus on people that do inspire us and light our fires. And you know, our time is precious, so make it precious. I can't believe Susanna's here. Right, Susanna, the reason why she wasn't here is because they've had power outage. Susanna's in France. Susanna is in France, isn't she? Yeah, and they've had all their powers gone off. So if she's coming back on, then it's because of the power issues. But at least I see her face. We get to see her face. Look at her.
I think, you know, have you guys listened to that? I don't know if you're on Netflix. You've got the that program, The Social Dilemma.
I haven't.
I've not watched it. I've been told to watch it.
Is it good?
It's a very fascinating thing. And basically, when you're talking about now with social media and what you listen to or what you hear, what comes up is, you know, they talk about the pros and cons and the fact that it wasn't actually originally designed to kind of haunt you or do whatever it does. But it does say, you know, if you're a person who's looking up conspiracy theories, then every ad, everything you find, everything you look at Google will be because of the algorithms or whatever. Google will bring you that way. If you're the one who's looking at it from a pro-democratic, then you'll get that kind of stuff. If you're looking at a Republican, you're going to get it there. If you're looking at it pro or against government. So whatever you start looking at, it brings you the information of what that is. So if you're looking for happy, positive, you know, any of the people that inspire you, then more of that's going to come up. So, so we can, to a certain degree, I think it's kind of a two-edged sword, because on the one hand, you're not being kind of all open and allowing other people's, you know, it's quite interesting sometimes to see other points of view. But at the same time, it's brilliant. You've got to think about what you choose to look up and what you choose to believe and go with.
Yeah,
rather than just writing something and then being led by that.
Yeah, I did know some of this, and so for quite some time I've been aware that we have each of us our own Facebook bubble. So we can't be saying, oh no, everybody's now realizing this. No, we don't know. Not from Facebook anyway. We don't know. We are getting served up what we are expecting, which is, as you say.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It is the algorithms. It's very powerful. As it's like, we have no control over the companies, but we can control what we choose.
So I wonder how can we create our own algorithms in our mind?
Yeah, interesting.
I wonder I'll think about that and report back.
Focus. It's focus, isn't it? That is the algorithm, because if you can focus on all the things and watch it, it's the world of words, going back to that as well. You know, the words that we speak on a daily basis, you know, they're creating the world that we see. They're creating the world that, it was funny because on the news last night, this is so random, right? This is so flipping random, as you do. But we were watching, I was watching Dexter with Costello, right? Because we watched Dexter and Dexter had just finished. And I said, let's watch something else before I go to bed. Otherwise I'm going to have all that in my head. I'm like, I love it, but hey, it's enough of Dexter. And we switched on ITV News, and there was a segment that was on ITV News at the time. And in the background of this thing, it was a big Bitcoin poster saying, if you're seeing this, it's time to buy Bitcoin. Isn't that weird? And it was literally, and I videoed it. I couldn't believe it. When's Bitcoin ever on the flipping news? Never, right? And it was just weird because it got to that point yesterday. It was a really exciting day yesterday and today, actually. But and I literally, we switched it off and it was on there, bang. And it's like what we see. And my sister texted me because I'd sent her the video, and she goes, trust you to notice that. And it was like bang on the screen, you know, you couldn't not notice it. But it is what we are surrounding ourselves with on a daily basis. We're seeing it, more of it, and most people might not even have seen that poster, even though it was bang smack in the middle of the screen. But it's like it was there when I switched, and it's a little sign. It's the little signs from the universe that you get sent that just it's just like a little pat on the back going, it's okay, You know what I mean? It's just,
again, that goes to focus if you think about it, because what you focus on is what you get. I mean, if you're buying a new car, you might never have seen that model or that color or whatever. The minute you buy one or start looking for one, you just see them all over the place, because now your conscious awareness is on that. So it is, and what you focus is what you receive back. You know, what you're putting out there is what you're going to get back. So yeah.
So you two just inspire me today, honestly.
Oh,
Because I felt so tired. I've been feeling really tired, and I've had a declutter. I've literally switched off a little bit for the past month, I'd say, because I'm just tired. I feel tired, and I can't give. You know, if a tap's dripping and dripping, eventually you just kind of like have to just turn the switch off for a little bit and just focus back in on this, you know, before you can give again. And it's important to just recognize that in yourself, that if your body's telling you to just have a break, then flipping have a break, and there's no one to stop you. And the only rules that we put on ourselves are the ones that we are telling ourselves on a daily basis. Nothing is that important that it can't wait. And if it is that important that you have to do it, zoom out a bit. Is it really that important? 5 years time, 1 year's time, 10 years time? And if it is that important that you have to deal with it now, declutter the rest of your mind so that you've got that focus, that you can just deal with that point. And then you haven't got the burden. It's like having a heavy weight on your back and running a marathon. You know, get rid of the weight and just start walking that marathon, because you're going to get there in the end. You're going to get there. And it might take a longer time, but that's okay. You don't need the weight. You don't need to run. This isn't a race. This is your life. That's it.
Yes, and that is so important. Life is not a race.
Life isn't a race.
it isn't, yeah.
Yet again, uncertainty. Susie, can we see you? We can see you, but you're freezing so much.
Oh,
darling.
not able to speak.
I don't see you yet, but I do hear you.
Susie, you're cutting out. Turn your camera off, see if that works. And
For
see
some reason, it's not working too well.
I know.
Yes, let me do that.
Oh, I can see her now.
Yeah, look how gorgeous she is.
She's gorgeous.
Oh, so are you.
I want to look like Susie when I grow up.
Oh,
I hear you. I might be frozen, but I hear you.
and I can hear you, Susanna,
Yeah.
right, I can hear you talking now. So the video is too much, whatever's going on in your background, but your voice is going through clearly. Talk to me.
Super.
Talk to me now.
It's because of my beauty. My beauty cannot, yeah.
Susanna, talk to me, because we haven't got long
I'm
left.
too sexy for my camera.
Susanna, it's cutting out. Susanna, it's cutting out. We can't hear you. We'll have to do it another time. It's your internet. Can't hear you at all. I love you though. I love you. I'm gonna mute Susanna because it's all cutting in and out. But we've got 10 minutes left.
Next
So
time.
yeah, we've got 10 minutes left. Oh, what a shame, Susie's. Yeah. Oh, what a shame. She tried. And that's the thing. You got to try.
Can I have a few minutes? We can share out these 10 minutes, can't we? 2 or 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
So one of the things I used to teach, it's just coming into my head over and over and over. So it's been doing it for the last few days. I used to teach drawing. I used to teach drawing on the right side of the brain. And it was fabulous and I loved it. What I used to say to my students was, we are all created to be creative. And if you have nothing creative in your life, you are lacking something important. And that creativity doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be painting, doesn't have to be anything. It could be gardening, could be baking, could be creating meals, meal ideas, menus, could be anything at all, as long as it produces something. And this is in the Bible as well. We are meant to produce fruit. And I think if we, when we're looking for focus, what we can look for is something that will produce, we can do that will produce some fruit. And it might be fruit for us. So it might be we've done a painting for us. It might be we've created a meal for us, or it might be we've done it for someone else.
Yeah.
And I think that will, I'm sure that will help us if we keep that in mind. I'm going to keep that in mind.
I love that. And I mean, even scientific community, what they're doing is they're creating things.
Yes.
You know, that's their creation, and
Yeah.
we all excel in so many different areas, and that's the most beautiful thing about humanity, is because we are so different and we're allowed to be that difference. You know, that's so important for the planet. You know, without this massive beautiful mix. Look at the oceans are full of diversity. And you know, they're the most beautiful things in the world, the oceans, the fish, and even right down to the bottom feeders, you know, right, and 10 billion feet down, you know, like everything has a purpose, everything has a plan, and everything has a reason to live and to be there, you know, and that's why we are so lucky that we have that. And it's just finding that, what makes you spark, what comes alive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. Yeah.
I think also, you know, what you're saying there is, it's realizing that you do make a difference. There's that funny little analogy that says, you know, if you think you don't make a difference, just turn the light off when there's a mosquito in the room. You know, it's a tiny little thing, but it makes a difference to your sleep. And I think it's knowing, you know, when you're doing, I think what you just said now about the fruit, you know, a result, you know, when there is a result, there gives a sense of pride or accomplishment, and I think that as a human being, we need that sort of, and it doesn't have to be recognition from somebody else. I'm aware some people do like that, but we need that sense of accomplishment, or that sense of, that result really rings true with me. I think it's you have a good point.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. Well,
these sessions are always they're always two-way, aren't they? I think a little bit about what I want to share, but I get so much from them as well that that wasn't in my head beforehand.
Yeah, I don't feel tired. I feel good.
I just feel so excited to see you guys again. I've really, really missed these chats. So it's been flipping lovely just hanging and catching and chatting.
It is very nurturing, isn't it? It's nurturing.
Yeah. Just knowing that we're all here literally for each other. If we ever need anything, like, that's it.
And we are a usefully connected group, aren't we? We are all on the same side. We are all there's I don't think there's anything any of you could say that would make me think, oh no, I don't think that's quite right. We're all coming from the same place, aren't we?
Everybody wants everyone to succeed and to thrive. That's it. Like, that's what life's about. I think that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign off on this note. If you've got anything else that you wanted to say or share or anything, I'm going to sign off from the live, and we'll just carry on chatting between us. But I just want to say to everybody that's watching this, I hope you got some value from it. Hang in there, focus on what's really important to you as a person. Put your oxygen mask on first. Before you can help anybody else, you have to be able to breathe first. So it's very important in an aeroplane, if you're going down, God forbid, they drop the altitude, then the oxygen mask comes down. You put your own on before you put on your family's or your child's, because you have to look after, number one, yourself first before anybody else. And it's so important. And no one is there to judge you. And the biggest critics are ourselves. So just know that, recognize it, and just focus on the good. And it will, I don't know what's going to happen. I can't say this or that's going to happen, but just focus on what you can do and what makes sense to you in your world, I think. So on that note, I'm going to sign off. I wish everyone love. Check out everybody's pages and their channels, because I'll put all the links in the description when I upload it. It has been a pleasure to be with you, and I hope to see you all again soon. Like, subscribe, and we shall see you all again very soon. So bye from us. I'll end live stream. Hold on, end live stream. Stop live stream. That's it. Now let me just stop recording.